Good evening and welcome to Paranormal Peeps. And tonight I'm speaking to Darran Charles, who we actually met at the Parameet a couple of years
Yeah,
ago, wasn't it?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, excellent.
And
Yeah, it
I
was.
don't know,
It's
we
good.
we just got on really well, didn't we? And I kept sort of
Yeah,
saying I want to speak to you, and I finally got round to speaking to you.
yeah. It's taken 2 years, but we're here
I
now,
know,
so
I'm
that's great.
shocking, aren't I? I really
Yeah,
am.
yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah, I say for best till last. There you go. What can
oh,
I say?
bless you.
Yeah, you love
Super.
that. Yeah, why not? Get out of that one quickly
Yeah,
though, wouldn't I? But oh
yeah.
my gosh, just to say, I've had an incredible weekend. I was at Newstead Abbey, and oh wow, what a beautiful building! But it's actually absolutely wiped me out.
Mm,
I think sometimes it can, can't it? And you have
it
to
can.
like take it easy, don't you? Sometimes.
You
But
do. I mean, you've got to have one foot in that world and one foot firmly in this world as well.
yeah, I know. But you just get really engrossed, don't you? You know it.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been doing a event or investigation every Friday or Saturday within February. So I think I'm worn out now. I've just got what? Well, no, I'm actually going out with Team Spirit Paranormal tomorrow night.
All right. Okay.
So I'm
Yeah,
out with
great.
those in Sheffield tomorrow night, and then I'm
Yeah,
actually doing my event and Barry John's event at Matlock Path on Friday, which is a sellout, which is amazing.
wow.
But yeah, just like
Yeah,
extremely keeping busy. It's mad, isn't it? But
fabulous.
we
Yeah,
do
yeah.
these things, and you,
Yep.
where did your journey start then with the sort of mediumship side and everything?
Well, I guess with with the mediumship, I mean, you hear a lot about mediums that have been, seeing spirits since they were children and all of that. That wasn't really true for me, although um, I guess I was psychic as a child, but my belief is that we're all psychic anyway. And my parents always used to say, "Oh, he's a bit weird. Him, he's been here
Oh,
before, and all that." And
wow.
I just sort of come out with things. And one particular thing that I mean, I used to get the usual stuff, Jackie, where that I think we all get. Like when you go uptown and you see somebody, and you think, "Oh, that looks like so and so," and then 2 minutes later, you see so and so, and you think, well, how did that happen?
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
it's weird, isn't it? And it's like I remember my mum used to. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we're reasonably close family, but when I got married, we weren't that we weren't that close. We weren't in each other's pockets or anything. But and this was the days before phone recognition, everything like
Oh,
that. And
yeah.
my mum would phone, and I'd pick up the phone and go, "Hi, mum." But she'd phone like maybe once a month or once every 6 weeks or 3 months or something. But I'd just pick up the phone and know it's my mum, and I'd just go, "Oh, hi,
I
mum."
was like
Yeah,
that. I
really.
forgot. Yeah, I did that all the
Yeah,
time because, yeah,
mm,
obviously the phone used to ring and I knew
yeah,
instinctively if it was my boss. So
yeah,
sometimes I'd be at home and she'd randomly phone like she had no right to phone. I
yeah,
was on a day off or something and she'd phone. I don't
yeah.
actually know what she phoned up about, to be
No,
fair.
no. So it
But
wasn't expected.
yeah, so she
Yeah,
shouldn't phone, but I knew it was my boss.
yeah,
And, it is weird, isn't it? But yeah, or I knew
yeah.
if my gran was phoning or if and yeah, I did know that, and yeah, you don't think about it, do you?
You don't think
You really
about it. I
don't.
mean, I guess one of the things that one of the things that sticks in my mind about that was I remember my sister, my sister announced that she was getting married, and she went, "Oh, yeah, yeah, we're getting married." I said, "Oh, great, that's congratulations, but I won't be at your wedding." And she went, "What do you mean you won't be at my wedding?" I said, "I'm not at your wedding." I've gone all shivery actually when I'm saying this story.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm on a beach somewhere, and I'm out looking. I'm sitting on a cliff looking at the sea." And she went, "Oh, well, that's nice, isn't it?" And I went, "Well,
Oh,
sorry, but yeah, that's where I am." And what happened was, I used to be a professional drummer, and my first gig was in my first pro gig was in Guernsey, back in a theatre show, you know,
wow.
and of course there's no real way of getting back. And this was like a 6 nights a week show, you know.
Oh, okay.
And there I was when she got married. So I said, well, I'll be with you in spirit. But I was literally sat on top of a cliff watching, watching the sea and all that, So I wasn't actually at a wedding. So that was one of my first sort of clairvoyant precognition things that happened of significance in
Wow.
my life that I'll always remember, you know. But
That's incredible. It really
yeah,
is.
yeah. But for me,
Oh,
I've ever since I can remember, I've been fascinated by ghosts, paranormal, and everything like that. Um, and but I was both fascinated and terrified at the same
uh-huh.
time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
And
think I was just too terrified.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I just
What?
used to, like,
Hmm,
assume that it wasn't real. It's like, "No, that's not happening," and
yeah.
I just, like, ignored it all the time.
Well, yeah. Well, it didn't help that when I was 11 years old, we moved from like a modern estate. Yeah, my dad was a builder. He was a bricklayer earlier on in his life,
Right.
and he decided, in his infinite wisdom, to move from this like modern house that we had, just a modern semi on a modern estate in Rugby, to decided to move to an old, Edwardian terraced house that needed a townhouse. It was that needed absolutely everything doing to it, But with him
Wow.
being a builder, my mum wasn't too pleased. But he said, "No, no, no, it'd be great, it'd be great," And it was lovely. Only when we moved in, there was the archetypical thunderstorm, and I'm
Awesome. Yeah.
thinking, and I'm like,
Weird.
what are they doing? What are they doing to me? I've gone from my little bedroom in this modern house, and this was three-story townhouse, and my room was in the attic room. Yeah. And so you
Wow.
can imagine I was absolutely scared to pieces,
Yeah.
and I
Oh
thought,
my
oh my
gosh.
God. And it was actually haunted. And years later, my dad said to me, he said, your room was the maid's room. I went, yeah, because it used to have maids, you see. It had all
Oh,
the bells,
wow.
like on upstairs, downstairs, we have all
Oh,
them
yes.
bells.
Awesome.
Yeah, it had those. And he said, I don't think she ever left, that maid.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'll tell you one thing, Jackie. I mean, look, now my view, since I've been doing this work, my views changed. And in my work, I stay away quite a lot with work, and I always pick somewhere old. I mean, I've stayed at the Red Lion in Colchester.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to stay
I
there.
yeah, I always stay in the most spookiest places. And like when I phone the Red Lion now, Angela, the manager, she says, "Oh, hi, Darren. Which room would you like? 1, 3, 6, or 5? Because they're all haunted, don't you?" I said, "Yes, I do." And I said, "Well, I think I'll go for number 6 today." And then she hands over the keys and she goes, "Have a great evening. Have a lovely evening," like that. And but I'll tell you one thing, I'll do that. But would I? Well, we've sold the house now. So, sadly, my dad passed on last year, so
Oh,
the house is sold now. But I would stay anywhere, Jackie. I'd stay anywhere you care to mention, but I would not stay in that house on my own.
wow.
I would
Incredible.
not stay in that house on my own because I think it holds such terrifying,
Oh, I get you,
terrifying
yeah.
things for me. Most of it probably in my own mind, although it was definitely haunted. But
So
yeah, I mean,
what did happen in the house, and
there was
what
just
did your
things that used
parents
to
think?
it was just things that used to like move around and things like that. I never saw anything, but things would, fly off shelves and that sort of thing, and I'd be thinking, oh my God.
Wow.
And I'd be reading the most horror books, like my family take the mickey out of me, something wicked. They said, yeah, I used to get I know it's terrible. I used to keep a Bible under the stairs.
Protect
I
yourself.
used to have a Bible under the stairs.
Oh, bless
God
you.
knows what use a Bible under the stairs will do, but for me, it was like, oh, I'll keep a Bible under the stairs in
Make
this,
sure.
yeah, in this spooky old house. But it wasn't till, um, listen, I was way more interested in receiving messages or getting messages from from mediums and clairvoyants. I never ever thought that I would be doing this kind of work. It wasn't until
Yeah,
years later that I joined a development circle. But how that came about was I used to go to spiritualist churches a lot, and some people joining us. Oh, that's cool.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So anyway, I used to go to spiritualist churches quite a bit, and then one day there was a wonderful medium from Leicester called Anne Milnes Howard, and she was fantastic. Anyway, so she was there, and she was doing a thing from the platform and everything, and she said. I need to come to you, and I went, oh, okay. So
Wow.
so she came to me and she said, you know of a young man that passed to spirit, and he must have been only about 39 years old. And I said, yeah, that's correct. And he passed with a heart attack. I thought, oh yeah, lots of people pass with a heart attack. But she
Yeah,
said,
sounds like
but
that.
but she said he'd already had a heart attack that had taken him to hospital, and he survived. But this heart attack he had in the garden, and he didn't survive. And I thought, well, my goodness, that's accurate evidence.
Yeah.
And she said to me, she said, you ought to tell his family. You ought to tell his family that he's come through. But she said, there's a problem. And I said, I know what the problem is. And I didn't tell her. And I went, yes. And she
Mm,
said, his family are all born again Christians.
okay.
Mm. And she said, you've got to, she said, he wants you to tell them that he's okay. And I thought, oh, well, that's a bit of a
Ooh,
tall order.
difficult one,
You're going to
yeah.
have to give me something better was going on in my mind. And she said to me, she said, they're not going to believe you, but you've got to do this. And I went, right, okay. And she said, I'm going to give you the name of Jeffers, and you're to tell them the name Jeffers. Okay.
Wow.
And you're also to say that the person that you're speaking to has been sorting out all his books and all his accounts. Right. And I thought, okay. So anyway, so I got back and I said to my wife, I said, oh, Gary came through. Oh, yeah. Here's another thing, right? Every person, they all went to me and said, I'm going to bring you a lovely rose. I'm going to give you a rose from
Oh,
spirit, or
yeah,
I'm going to give you a
yeah,
flower. Lovely.
yeah,
And I thought, well, if Gary gives me a rose, there's something wrong, you
yeah.
know, because that's not Gary at all. Anyway, she said, he's giving you a brandy and martini, right?
Oh,
And I thought,
wow.
oh my God, I think it was the second most drunk I've ever been was with Gary. We went out for a meal. No, we went to his house for a meal, and he used to drink brandy with a martini mixer. Well, brandy with a martini mixer, you can imagine.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was so drunk, and that's a second most drunk I've ever been
Oh,
in
bless
my
you.
life. Yeah, and he bought me the brandy martini, and I thought, oh blimey, yeah. Well, that's him. That's what he would have brought,
Yeah.
you know. And anyway, so I got home and I said to my wife, "Oh, Gary came through," and the medium said, "I've got to tell his folks." I said, "But they're like born again Christians." She said, "Well, I didn't." I said, "Well, they are, because Gary was actually a born again Christian himself. You see." So it didn't stop him, partaking. Let's say. and,
No
and
way.
anyway, yeah, exactly. So she said, "Well, if that's what he wants, then that's what you've got to do, haven't you?" So I said, "Well, okay. Well, I'll phone." So I phoned, and there was no answer. So I said, "Well, that's it. I phoned." She said, "You phoned once, and they weren't there." So I said, "Yeah, but I've done my bit, haven't I?" She said, "No, you haven't." She said, "If he wants you to contact them, then contact them. You must." So anyway, so the next day I phoned again, no answer. I thought, oh, it's obviously fate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said, I've tried again, and there was no answer. She said, well, I think you should keep trying. So I thought, you know what? Third time lucky. So third time lucky. And his brother answered, and I said, "Oh, it's because I was in a band with him. You see, he was a keyboard player in our band." And I said, "Oh, it's Darran from the band." He went, "Oh yeah, yeah. Gary used to speak about you and all that." And I said, "Yeah, And unfortunately, I couldn't go to his funeral because I was at a music show in Los Angeles. And I said, "Oh, I'm really sorry." He said, "No, no, no, no." He said, "Gary will totally understand. You're into the music and you were working, everything." I said, "Yeah." I said, I've got something to tell you." I said, "I've been to a spiritualist church," and he said, "Oh, you're not one of them, are you?" And I said,
Oh
"Well,
God.
I suppose I kind of am one of them a little bit, sort of thing."
Yeah, it's
So
awkward,
he
isn't
said,
it?
well, he said, our beliefs, and we don't believe in any of that sort of thing. I said, "Yeah, but the medium was really good." And, she said he passed of a heart attack. He said, "Loads of people pass of heart attacks, I said, "Yeah, but she was very specific and, and all of that." And I said, "Well, the brandy and all of that." He said, "Well, lots of people drink brandy." And I went, "Ah, she told me I've got to give you a name, and the name is Jeffers." And the line went silent. And he went, "But that was years ago. Years ago." I said, "Well, what was years ago?" He said, "Well, I'll tell you." He said, "Gary being a piano player," he said, we went out and we went past the spiritualist church in Coventry, and they were advertising for an organist. So he said, I said to Gary as a joke, he said, "Go in there, mate, go in, and tell him you want to be the piano player and all of that." So anyway, so we went through the door. He said nothing came of it, but he said it was me, Gary, and the third guy was John Jeffers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and I thought, and I said, he said, "Oh, did he say anything else?" He said, "Yeah." I said, You're doing all his books because you're an accountant and all that." And he went, "Yeah, yeah." He said, "I am." He said, "But I don't believe in any of this stuff, but I don't know what to think of that. But if you get anything else, let me know." And
I love that. Yeah.
yeah, and that was kind of the start for my own development, And what happened was, so after the service, the president of the church came up to me and she said, "You've got lights above your head." And I went, "You what?" She
Oh
said, "You've got lights above your head." During that message, I could see lights above your head. I said, "What, you mean like the saint on the telly when you look up like
yeah.
that?" And she
Yeah,
said, "Not quite like that, no." But she said, "You must join our circle." And I said,
yeah.
"What's that? What's that all about?" I said, "That sounds a bit." She said, "No, no, 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 no." She said, "It's a development circle and you must join it." Right. I went, "Okay." So I thought, well, all right then. If you want me to, I'll go along. Yeah. So I went along and everything, and people were sat there, and it was like all in the dark and everything like that. And people were coming up with the most wonderful things. They've been on these fantastic journeys, and they'd seen all this fantastic stuff. And she said to me, "Well, have you got anything?" I went, "Well, no, not really." She said, "You have, haven't you?" I said, "Well, I have." I said, "This lady here," I said, your brother was stabbed to death." And she
Oh
went,
God.
"Oh my God." She said, "No, it wasn't my brother, but he was like a brother to me.
Oh
It was
bless
my
you.
closest friend, and he was stabbed in a outside a nightclub." And
Oh
to be
gosh.
honest with you, and I described him and everything, and it completely freaked me out, Jackie. And I didn't
I
go
get
back again
you.
for another month. And I said, "If that's what I've got to do, I'm not sure if I want to do it." And she said, "Darran, it's a test, The test was that you had to go and give the brother that didn't believe the information. You had that and you passed that test. And this is another test as well. They're just testing your metal to see if they can work with you.
Now
And
that's intriguing because before I went
yeah,
live, I told you that I was getting to a stage where I was potentially going to do online readings, but then
yeah,
something happened. It kind of put me off, and it
yeah,
stopped me from doing this. And that
yes,
was the thing. Maybe that was a test, just to see that if I
Yeah,
wanted to continue. And I was
yeah,
supposed to do lives at Christmas, and
yeah,
then it's like, oh no, I'm not doing that. And I'm back
yeah.
trying to communicate. Want to do paranormal now, but
Exactly.
you
Yeah,
know,
it
well
it
different.
is. It is, and I do believe that, and I do believe that spirit do test you, and I mean, and then that was kind of the start of it, and then I was there it was every second week. Every
Oh
second week,
wow!
I was there for the development, and I still, we never stop developing, and I still sit in development circle now, not the same one. I do my own from time to time development circle, because for me there's no um there's no quick way, there's no shortcut to development.
No,
It's a
that's
lot,
right.
it's a lifetime commitment, and I think a lot of people don't believe that, and it's not an easy road. I'm sure you know people like our friend Barry will tell you it's not an easy road, this road of mediumship. It really
That's
isn't.
right. Well,
It can be very lonely at times.
when
Mm,
I started development 8 years ago, I did it for a laugh. I didn't actually
mm,
believe in mediumship, but
yeah,
it was kind of circumstances what kind of put it that way.
yeah,
And it was them that said, "Do you really want to do this? Do you want to go down the route?" Yeah, yeah, whatever, 'cause, yeah.
mm,
But
yeah,
yeah, and yeah, once you sort of get involved in it, it is crazy. Like the things you see.
yeah,
I've seen some horrible things,
mm,
and you like. I think at times I said like, "Spirit, I don't want to see this," but I've actually seen
no,
horrible things in real life. I used
yeah,
to run a pub, and sometimes you
yeah,
see things which you didn't want to see, and
exactly, yeah.
that's living, isn't it? But yeah,
It is, and
so
it's
we're
not.
always we're club, yeah,
It's yeah, it's a tough road, and I think, but my belief, Jackie, is that we're all psychic, yeah, and we've all got the potentiality to be mediumistic as well, if we
yes,
want to. And the reason for that is, like, your spirit, I'm communicating with you, yeah.
yeah,
So it's like I'm communicating with your spirit, if you like, because we're both
yeah,
spirit.
that's right,
The only difference is with mediumship, you raise your vibration, you raise your consciousness to a level, if you like, where spirit find it easier to communicate with you. So
yeah,
that's where the medium comes in. Basically, you're like a radio receiver, where you've tuned your frequency, like tuning a radio in. Yeah,
yeah.
and that's it. It's not a trance state. With some mediums it is a trance
I
state.
want to do that. I am going to try and learn that. I'm
Yeah.
trying. I've
Well,
tried a few times, but yeah, one day,
well,
hopefully.
if you look at it on a scale of 1 to 100, yeah,
Mhm.
with 100 being totally under trance and 1 not being under trance at all, yeah,
Yeah.
whenever you do mediumship, you're in an altered state of consciousness.
Oh
So
yeah,
you're
definitely.
somewhere on that spectrum, right? Yeah. So
Yeah,
the higher up you are on that 100, if you like, yeah, the better your communication will be. Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
And the difficulty is with mediumship, and I always say to people every time I do a reading, there's no guarantee, conditions have got to be right. I might have had a terrible day. I might have been really busy like you were, being, your
Mm,
weekends and your work and all
yeah,
that. I might not be in the right position mentally to make a good connection. And the person who is the sitter, might be very negative, might be closed. They might not be.
yes,
And my view is, and whenever we do, and I know I've done a reading for you, and I always say, look, conditions have got to be right with me, with you, with spirit, for it all to gel. Yeah.
yeah,
And people
that's
don't get that. And I never used to get that. I just used to think it was penny in the slot, boom, out pops mediumship. But there's more to it. There's more to it than that. And of
yeah,
course, external conditions do affect it. Because why? Because we're human, first of all. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
that's it.
But when you're truly connected, it's incredible, and it's absolutely remarkable. And my mentor is a guy called Andy Bing. I think I mentioned him. He lives in Canada now. He's one of the best mediums I've ever seen in my life, and he's also a great teacher. You know, and he said, look, he said it's all about being, it's all about your connection to spirit. It's all about raising this consciousness and staying within this consciousness. Yeah, and it
Yeah,
doesn't always, it doesn't always happen. But what he did say was, when you're truly connected to spirit, yeah, and not on the peripherals, yeah, when you're truly connected, everything that comes out of your mouth will be correct, because
yeah,
it is almost like spirit have come that close to you that it's almost like spirit talking through you. And that's the state that we aim for. We don't always get it. When you're not truly connected, you'll get a bit here, a bit there, a bit here, a bit there. Yeah.
yeah,
But it's, and the other thing is, it's about surrendering to spirit. And surrendering to spirit means allowing spirit to control the contact, not you with your shopping list of, oh, what did they do for a living? How did they pass? What were their hair
yeah.
color? What were their
Which
eye
is
color?
like the ghost hunt, isn't it? You've got all these questions and
Yeah.
sort
And
of asking them until you tune into them.
exactly. Whereas really, it's like, oh, I need to talk about how I passed. Well, the person might think, oh, God, I passed in a car crash. I don't really want to talk about that. Thank you. I'd
Yeah,
much rather talk about my hobby, which was fishing. And so, and like he would go into the incredible detail about the fishing because they wanted to talk about that. Do you see what I mean?
I
So
do.
he said,
Yeah,
if you go along the track of what they want to speak about, you're working in conjunction with them. If you have your own agenda and you're constantly trying to put them, you're trying to throw things at them because you want to know that, it doesn't work. You're moving away from the contact. So you should be working with the contact and allow them to direct what you're going to say. Because when it comes to it, there's no better person than knowing how to get through to their loved one than the spirit communicator themselves. Yeah.
mm, yeah,
Because they're the ones that know what will get to their person. Yeah. And so
I
if you've
get
got
you.
a room of 100, say there's a room of 100 people, and you're doing the what we call the throw it out style of mediumship, which is where ideally it should take you to the person that you want to go to. It
Yeah,
has to be pretty specific. You can't say, oh, I've got somebody here that passed with a chest condition. Well, let's face it,
most of
at
the
the end of
yeah,
the
most
day,
of
we
the
all pass
people.
with a chest condition because we pass with lack of breath, you
Yeah,
see,
that's
because
right.
we stop
Yeah.
breathing. So you're going to get every hand in the room go up,
And that
yeah,
was that
for
was
that.
me when I first started mediumship because I said anyone could stand in a corner, go, "Oh, it's just John there with a blue shirt, like blue," and
Oh, yeah,
that's what
yeah,
I said to them. It's
yeah,
like because I'd seen the
yeah.
ones who waved their arms around, I'd seen the ones who
Well,
seemed to come out with rubbish,
yeah, yeah.
and I
Well,
didn't have any confidence in it. But a lot of my
no.
friends now are mediums.
Yeah. Well, everybody knows a George, Paul, John, but not many people know a Ringo, do they?
No, that's it. That's true.
So if you got a Ringo, yeah, anything other than that,
Yeah, that's
I,
right.
if I get a common name now, I hate it. I don't want to give it. And I said, look, I'm really, really sorry. I'm really, really sorry, but your dad was actually called John. And they'll go, yeah, he was. But I hate giving a John because it's like, oh, you've just given me a John. And, it can be not very good evidence giving a name. If people think,
Well, that's
oh,
it.
yeah, if it's a really strange name, like, I think I went to somebody once and I went, oh, Gertrude. And he
Oh,
went, yeah,
wow.
yeah, yeah, Gertrude. Yeah, that's my nan. That is. That's Gertrude, my nan. You know, and
I get you,
and then
yeah.
you don't mind, but it's like, but again, if you're looking for names, that's great. But I've known mediums fire off loads and loads of names, but if they're all common names, look, we all know a George, don't we? Everybody knows a George,
Mm.
and a John at some stage, either here or in the spirit world, or walk past them in the pub or something like that. It's not evidence, is it? It's not evidence, you
Well,
know?
that's the problem because I can tend to get a John through, which is frustrating. But then
Yeah.
it is the guy who's in my past life,
Yes.
and I
Yeah.
think he comes through, and it's like, you
Mm.
know what I mean? And he has, and he came through a couple of weeks ago at a totally different location.
Yeah.
It's getting a bit much, really, but hey ho.
When it's fine to give that, it's like there's a great medium called Billy Roberts. He was one of the first kind of celeb mediums, a scouser, and fabulous medium, Billy Roberts. Sadly, he's over the other side now, and he said you can't just give a name without giving the context. He said if you say, right, okay, I've got your uncle here and his name's Robert. He said that's fine, but you can't
Yeah,
just give a Robert. You've got to
right,
give
yeah,
you've got to give something with it. And if spirit are
yeah,
giving you that, then they will tend to give it you. But the other thing that people, you know, that I find difficult would be clairaudience, clairsentience, and clairvoyance, of course. Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if you can use all three at the same time? But it just doesn't work like that. For me, I'm either using clairvoyance, and when I say clairvoyance, I don't physically see spirit. I see spirit in my mind's eye.
yeah,
Yeah.
which I do
Yeah.
sometimes.
Exactly, and for me, it's subjective clairvoyance in that only I see it in my mind's eye. Whereas with objective clairvoyance, you can see things physically outside of your
I
mind,
get
if you
you.
like.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's objective, and then of course you got physical, where everybody sees. Let's say you're in a pub or something and somebody dressed like a Roman soldier walks through and you all see it and you go, wow,
yeah.
that's physical clairvoyance, which is extremely rare, you know?
Well, yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
myths sort of grow and develop and gain a face, and that was
yeah,
Matlock Pavilion. And
yeah.
to get to that was fantastic. But I still
And
don't say it's an apparition.
and
Still
did
haven't
other
seen
people
Holy
see
Grail.
that? Did other
Yes,
people see
yes,
that, Jack? Well, then that's an example of, like the old physical mediumship,
yeah,
And
that's right.
and and when you think about that, people used to sit around. They used to sit regularly once a week for years and years on end, often without anything happening, to build up that rapport and to build up that energy that's required for spirit to manifest. Yeah. And
Hmm.
spirit need energy. Yeah. They are energy, but they need energy for that to happen. Yeah.
Yeah,
and you don't get that these days. With these days it's all mental mediumship. Yeah.
yeah.
um
I don't know.
so
I did
yeah,
try a bit of physical mediumship. We're at that
yeah.
weird shop. So Amanda Hancock, who's watching, she sat
Mm.
halfway up the
Hi,
stairs.
Amanda.
And then at the top of the stairs, there was Gary Fields. And
Yeah,
between them, they tried to get this apparition come through. And I
yeah,
did see a white mist develop.
yeah,
And it got
yeah,
stronger and stronger, but that's as far as it got. But they
yeah,
did try and create something. And I
yeah,
find like on a lot of when I sort of go out and do my own private events, we
yeah,
really go for it. We work together well. A lot
yeah.
of us have a bit, all of us have some sort of ability,
Of
even
course.
if just empath, and some are really strong mediums, and we
Yeah,
get no end of stuff happening. So I
yeah.
think because we work with energy and we draw spirit close to us, that's
Mm.
probably why we get so much very strange activity. But
And
I
not.
like what Andy says though. It'd be good
Yeah,
to contact a medium that's passed away, and actually I have. And I'm not going
yeah,
to mention his name. It was in development,
yeah.
and I got this person through, and his
Mm.
name came through, and I said, "Oh, I've got this person through. I know you're in his fan club. I'm not going to say any more."
Mm.
The next week, I did it again. I said, "Oh, I've got strong energy, describing blah blah blah. Oh, it's him."
Yeah,
And like he showed me himself a different way. So rather
yeah,
than coming forward as who he was,
yeah.
he then at the end of it sort of said, "Oh, it's me," and it's
Mm.
and the girl was so grateful for the message. But the first time I got it, I wouldn't give it because I
No.
thought, no, you've got photos of him behind you. I
Yeah,
don't want to do this, and
No.
But then the second time he came through, he tried again, and it's like the intelligence of this guy as well,
Yeah.
and it is fascinating. Oh, there
Yeah.
you go. Like, Amanda sees you surrounded by sound and vibration.
Oh yes, I definitely am. Yeah, there's plenty of sound in here. Well, you know what, Amanda, Amanda, you amaze me. You
Amanda's
come out with
incredible.
some incredible stuff. Well, I can show you. Shall I show you the sound? You can't see, can you? Right, let me show you. Right, here you are. It's my hand pan. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
there you go. There's sound and vibration for
Vibration
you.
as well, yeah.
Right. Okay. Here's one of my Native American flutes. Yeah. I've got a
Oh,
cajon here. I've got a rain stick here. Yeah. Got a rain stick here. I've got a piano in the corner.
oh
Right.
my God.
And I don't know if you can see it. Can I? You can probably see it. I've got a
Oh
drum
my
kit there.
God.
Yeah.
That's
So there you
fantastic.
go, Amanda. I
Got
couldn't be
everything.
more surrounded by sound and vibration. So that's a good message there. Very good. And she wouldn't have known that. You
Well,
can't
no.
see that from where I'm sitting. So I'm surrounded by sound and vibration. And interestingly, I'm getting because my job, I work in the music industry. So my job is I sell musical instruments business to business and to artists and musicians, bands, top bands, and all that sort of stuff. So that is my thing. But recently, we've been looking at getting into, sound healing, sound therapy instruments, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've become pretty obsessed with it. Really, I started off with one flute. I've now got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight flutes. So I'm learning Native American flute. If you go on my page, I'll probably be boring you stupid with my my flute meditations, my handpan stuff, and all of that. So yeah, that's me. So yeah, Amanda, yeah, not surprised. When we were at the last meet, you gave us some fantastic evidence, and I'm really, really critical. I'm critical of myself. I constantly beat myself up. You know, occasionally, well, more than occasionally, I'll do a demo and I'll come out and I'll go, yes, 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 yes. But sometimes I'll go, and then I'm driving along saying, well, you could have done that better. You could have done this better. You can always do better, but
Yeah.
I never, sometimes I'm completely happy, but never really, because you can always do better and you should always be pushing yourself,
Oh, bless you.
um,
Yeah.
with your, with your mediumship and stuff like that. But I'm not one of these people. I don't think that, I don't believe in this sort of elitist thing of only certain people can do it. We can all do it. We can all do it,
Yeah.
but it's like playing an instrument. Yeah. You get out what you put in, and you have to believe me, you have to put a lot of time. It has to become your life.
Mm.
It's not a job for me. I've got another job. It's more than a job. It's my way of life.
Wow.
That's what it's become. And I love it. And you're absolutely right. There is nothing. I you get all the skeptics and that, and I was skeptical, and I'm still skeptical. I still
I am
question
to some
everything
degree.
that I
Yeah.
do, and you
Right.
have to be. You can't be one of these, oh, it's all spirited, blah blah. No, I question it. I question my own mediumship. I question other people's mediumship as well. If they're doing me a reading, then I ain't going to feed them. I'm going to be yes, no. I'm not going to be difficult. I'm going to be open, and
Yeah,
you should be
that
open.
was like when you gave me a reading, I didn't
Yeah.
I sort
No.
of I went, "Yeah, no, but I'm not gonna give you more just
No,
so you can
no.
build
The
from it."
worst thing,
You
the
know?
worst thing is to is
Hi.
as mediums. My view is, for me, it's all about the ethics. It's all about integrity, and you can't dip in and out of integrity. You've either got it or you haven't got it. You can't
Yeah.
dip in and out of it. You know, and people think. I hate it when I see all this. I can understand it because there's a lot of people out there now. There's a lot of TikTok mediums and stuff, and and they get hundreds and hundreds of followers, thousands of followers, and then when I look, I think, oh my God, what you call that evidence? That's not evidence,
No, it's
and
specific that you need.
yeah, I'm pretty critical, and I'm critical of myself, and I'm critical of other mediums as well. But I also know when, when they're the real deal, and nothing amazes me now with spirit, because when you see the impossible, you witness the impossible almost on a daily basis. Yeah,
Yeah, I get you.
yeah, you witness the impossible, and you just think, well, you know, where did that come from? Well, we know where it came from. It didn't come from me. It came from spirit, you see. And like I said, my mentor, my friend Andy Bing said, when you're truly, truly connected, everything will be correct, because you will, even if you're interpreting it, you will interpret it correct.
Yeah, get you. Because the
So,
interpretation can be a difficult one, can't it? Like
well, it,
if you can see something in your mind's eye, it's
yeah,
like it's how to describe it in the way
yeah,
that you see it. Like
yeah,
if, for instance, you've got a picture of a person and
yeah.
you can see what you're being shown, it's how to describe that in the way that the person you're speaking to understands it.
Yeah. The thing is, spirit will always they'll always take they understand. So they will take the easy route. They seem to know, if you respond well to clairvoyance, they will give you
Yeah,
clairvoyance. If you respond well to clairaudience, and clairaudience for me is just thought words. Yeah. So,
yeah, I get that.
yeah, a thought word. So it comes into your head and you think, where did that come from? So you're not
Yeah,
actually hearing. I mean, you know I've only ever physically heard maybe once or twice in my life. Yeah. And the
yeah.
one time I did, I remember it was a Sunday morning, and I heard my mum, and I'm living here, I'm not my sort of family home or anything. And I heard my mum's voice. My mum lived 6 miles away, and I heard my mum's voice clearly call my name. And I said to my wife, I said, my mum's just called my name. And she went, oh God, you better phone her then.
Yeah.
So I, I phoned her, and actually this was a few days later when I phoned her. Right, so I phoned her a few days later, and I said, "Oh, Mum, you all right?" She said, "Well, I am all right." And but she said, I've been in a car accident. As I said, we weren't that close as a family.
Okay. Yeah.
She said, I was in a car accident. She said, and I had to go to hospital. She said, I was just badly bruised and everything. And I said, Mum, when was that? And she said, it was Sunday morning at 9 o'clock. And I said, I heard you. I said, I heard you. You called out to me, didn't you? She said, I did call out to you, son. Getting quite emotional here. And I said,
Yeah.
I was going to phone you. And she said, you should have, you should have. And, and that's the one time I heard outside of my own
Open
mind,
heart.
if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like an objective clairaudience with that,
Yeah. It was
and
strange because I did Newstead and in September, as I was leaving, my name Jackie got called. I knew it
yeah,
wasn't family, they would have said Jacqueline. So
yeah,
I turned round and
yes,
I got Barry's sister behind me, and she
yeah,
said straight away, "I've just heard someone called you Jackie." And we'd only got
really,
Barry behind us, and that was
yeah,
incredible. And I'd made a
yeah,
link to a specific spirit in a room. So
yeah,
this weekend I've been again. I've tried to like communicate with her, but other
mm,
ones have come through, and
yeah,
it does, and everything, and but this time I went into that room again
mm,
because I'd had that interaction before. I thought, let's go
yeah,
in there. So yeah, I
yeah,
took the guests in there. I
yeah,
said, "Oh, hello, I'm back." Introduced
mm,
myself, and we got in the background a very clear
mm,
one. It wasn't someone's stomach, and all the
no,
guests heard it as well.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
after that, when I was speaking, you could hear people above my voice. So we
yeah,
had quite a lot of audio,
Or-
actual voices, and
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
it's fascinating, and
It is.
it's
It's
the only
amazing.
time I've had it like that.
Yeah.
And they're like,
It's
"Oh my god!"
yeah.
The guests don't know what they were subjected to because some of them were new. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They don't realise that we'll probably never get that again. But it was
No.
just so incredible.
No, because people, a lot of the time, especially if it's their first experience, they don't really know what to expect, do they? And
Right?
the
Yeah,
thing is, people don't realize how, how difficult this thing is. Yeah, and spirit are very good at it. As this is why you should always allow spirit to control the contact, because they're way, way better at it than us mediums. Yeah.
yeah,
They know, they're very clever in what they give, they
yeah,
know what will, what to give to the person that will get them,
yeah.
get them to recognize, because their their aim is to obviously get through to their person. Yeah.
Yeah,
And they will give you, ideally, if you're truly connected, they will give you the information that will get to their person, that is not general, but is very, very specific, and it can
yeah.
be anything. it can be it can be an object, it can be a memory, it can be, a little elephant that they used to keep on the sideboard or
Mm.
something like that. But it's evidence to that person,
Or even a phrase. You
a
could get this
phrase.
like
Yeah,
really random phrase, and you just say it. Like to you, it's like what the hell, and can I
yeah,
really say this to this person? And yet,
yeah,
we've got a question here from Anthony Lewis. Then,
yeah.
so he said, "How are you on touching items and getting a message?" I guess that's psychometry, isn't it? Or
Psychometry. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm Anthony. It's not. I I love it, and I try it, and I do it in sort of development and everything like that with everyone else. But it's not. It's not really my thing. Psychometry isn't really my thing. It's something that I'd love to do. I'd love to do more of. Yeah, but with me, I tend to separate the psychic and the mediumship. And because I think, although they're very, very similar, there's a big difference between the two. And a lot of the time, a lot of mediums mistake um working psychically for actual mediumship, because
mm,
you know you can tell a lot about people's relatives from the actual person, because it's there in their aura. Yeah. And
mm,
that's not mediumship, that's psychic. Yeah. So I could be saying, oh, your dad did this, your dad did that, and I could be picking that up from you psychically. The difference is, when you're working psychically, you send your energy forward and you blend your aura with your sitter, so you're going spirit to spirit, in other words. Yeah.
mhm.
When you're working mediumistically, it's like you're raising your consciousness. Like I said before, you're
Yeah,
raising your consciousness to that level. And the difference seems to be emotion. Yeah, emotion plays a huge part. It's like, I know when I'm connecting to spirit, I go all shivery, and it's almost like I can feel them. Yeah,
yeah,
I can feel them. Oh God, it's like I'll go shivery. Yeah, I know they're here, they're here. And then, it's almost as if you are them. You're not them, but it's like as if you were them. And
interesting.
then, and you start talking in the I'm here. Like, did a reading the other day for a lady, and I said, I'm in your garden. I've got rose bushes to the left. In the
Oh,
center, I've
wow.
got I've got this. And your husband wasn't a great gardener, but he did look after his roses, and they're on the left. And then when I go straight on, I've got the bird box that he made. And she's going, yes, that's right,
Oh,
that's right.
beautiful.
And
Yeah,
so you're sort of, do you know what I mean? Because he's showing me that. Yeah, he's,
yeah, I
he's,
get that.
and this is the beauty of it. And I think, I think with psychometry, I know that you can connect with spirit. I went, the MBS thing, the MBS thing in Birmingham.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was that on, and TJ Higgs was there. He's a great medium. You know,
Yeah.
she was there and she was doing a demo, and she said she asked for a volunteer to come up that read tarot. Well, I'd read tarot. I'm not a tarot reader, but I love it, and that's
Yeah.
another thing. You know, I've got flutes, I've got tarot card. I collect flutes, I collect tarot cards.
Oh,
I
bless you.
can't help it. You know, I started selling them, and then I sold a load. And what did I do? I went to another store and bought a load more.
Oh, bless
I,
you.
yeah, I
Oh,
love
wow.
them, but she said, "Well, pull this card." You know, so she says, "I'm going to give you this card." It wasn't a tarot card; it was like a just a card with an image on. And she said, "You know,
Yeah.
what do you get from that?" So I said to the lady, I said, "Well, what I get is, I've got your mum." You know, and she was this, that, and the other. And TJ Higgs said, "Wow." She said, and she said, "Oh, that's great because what you're doing there," she said, "you're showing that it is possible for an object to link mediumistically rather than psychically, you know,
Good.
which I thought, oh, what the hell, I'll just get up." There was a load of people and we had some fun, and
Oh,
it
that's
was great.
good.
But it
Yeah.
just shows you that yeah. So coming back to Anthony's thing, you know what? It's funny actually. It's funny you should come on and say that, because today we love going around secondhand shops, yeah. So in Leamington, we went around a secondhand shop, and I saw these coins, and there was this set of coins for like 50, they were 50 quid, but they were Roman coins, but they were in this, they were like, obviously they didn't want anyone to nick them. So they were in this glass thing, and I was thinking, I
Yeah.
so want to hold these coins. I want to know what I feel. What do I feel with these Roman coins? Because they're like 2,000 years old and all of
Oh,
that. So,
wow.
yeah, I mean, it's something I've done with photographs and things like that, but it's not the normal way I work. So I'm by no means an expert at psychometry, but I'd encourage anybody to, to have a go at it, and it's fun, and I'm sure you will get a connection by doing it.
Well, I've got some items. I've had them a while, and there's not if people have tried psychometry with them, then they
Yeah,
will say, like, Ian Lawman's held them, Derek
yeah,
Cora held them, and there's quite
yeah,
a few people I've met and
yeah,
sort of said, "What do you get?" And they're just like a little project I've had, really.
yeah,
Um, I I won't say what they are, and I've even
yeah,
taken them to, different development lessons just to say, "What have you got?" And some of what people are coming out with, they're like, "I can't say this," but actually they're
yeah,
right because
yeah,
they weren't my items.
yeah.
So it's interesting. So are you at the Parameet?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I'll bring
I'm
them.
signed up.
Yeah,
I'm fully signed up for the whole lot. I'm
awesome.
doing the all of
That
them,
sounds
mate.
brilliant. Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm
Yeah, and
there. Yeah.
Neil says hello as well. So
Oh, hi, Neil.
he's
Yeah.
not commented on the show, but he's commented on my post when I shared it, sort of saying
Oh,
how
right.
he
Oh, okay. Oh,
uh,
okay. Cool. I
yeah,
love Parameet. Parameet. Everybody go to Parameet.
oh
It
gosh,
just
yeah.
gets bigger and better all the time. I've been in it since the first one, and I absolutely love it. And
Oh,
it's just fantastic. And this year, I'm doing a workshop.
are you?
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
wow.
doing a mediumship workshop, psychic and mediumship workshop with the title. What's the title? You must be psychic. Yeah, because
Awesome. All
yeah,
right.
so it's you must be psychic, and if you're there, people come along. It'll be fun, and we'll look at the difference between psychic and mediumship. Yeah, and there'll be
Yeah.
some great fun exercises for everybody to join in and have a go with.
Oh, I love
And
that because I've not
yeah.
heard about that one. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and I'll be doing Muck Messages. Muck Messages is great. Muck Messages is where you get somebody who volunteers to who you ask them to focus on their person in spirit, yeah, their loved one in spirit, yeah. Obviously they've got to know loads and loads about them, and then what you do is you go around
Yeah.
everybody really really quickly, and you say, like, right, write something quick, 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 like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody does it. And at the end, it's absolutely amazing that the information that you get, and people surprise themselves. How did I know that? And it can be very, very specific things. And you just go
Wow, I love
with,
that.
with what comes into your head about that person, you know,
But
and very often,
that's a mediumship, isn't it? And that's
yeah,
what people have to know. The first thing what pops in their head is the
yes,
mediumship. Like, you know, like
yes,
you go on a paranormal investigation, someone go, "What name is it?" I get one in my head.
mm,
I say it. What date? I
yeah,
give it. You know, and
yeah,
it's just this random stuff. And then if like
yeah,
I find that if somebody's got a dowsing rod or if they've got
mm,
pendulums, then they can confirm if my information's correct. And then later you
yeah.
check the historical records. But it, oh, it's just fascinating,
The,
isn't
the
it?
one the one thing you should always do is don't be afraid to give it, you know, and especially if you're in a, you know, if you're in
Wow.
you know, if you're in a group and you're in a paranormal thing, the worst thing you can do is not give it, right? I
Mm.
always say, if you see a pink elephant, you give that pink elephant. You
Yeah.
say, look, I've got this pink elephant. Yeah. In actual fact, this pink elephant is a toy, and with that lady there, and you've got a child in spirit, and their favorite toy was a pink elephant. Yeah, I've made that up, but
Well,
do you see what
yeah,
I
that's
mean?
true. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
because
that is the evidence, isn't
it
it?
is the
More than
evidence. So
anything.
by not giving that, you could have missed out on a world class contact. Yeah, by
That's
not
right.
giving what, and you take that home, and then very often somebody will say it, and you'll think, oh my God, I was going to say that. So, especially in development, especially in workshops, things like that, I encourage people, be wrong, give it and be wrong, but don't be afraid to be wrong, because listen, we all get it wrong. You know, all as mediums, you know, we're only ever as good as our last session, you know,
Yeah,
we're as good as our last message, you know, and that's it. And to me,
fascinating.
every time I do a demo, I'm saying, please, 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 please be with me. Please be with me. The deal is you're with me. If you're not with me, I'll go out. I'll pack it in, and I'll start forcing me flute on, you know, my flute
Yeah.
sounds and music on everybody. I'll do
Oh,
something
bless you.
else. But that's my deal. But so far, so good, you know,
Oh, so Anthony's got a
thankfully.
good one. He
Yeah.
says, "Do you ever walk by a building or something, and then the building appear and disappear, then a week later a sign show up?"
Sorry, can you tell me that again? I can't read
Um,
it. Yeah.
he's going. Have you ever walked past a blank lot? So just like
Oh,
just
right.
buildings,
Yeah.
yeah, and then the builds suddenly appear and disappear, and a week later a
Yeah.
sign show up, basically for sale or something. And it's like for you to
Right.
sight the place.
Yeah, no, that's a really interesting one. That is, um, buildings. Yeah, buildings are fascinating, aren't they? And
Oh, they are
I mean,
definitely.
you know, you know, it's like you walk in and it's that feel, isn't it, that you get? You know,
Yeah, it is.
it's that feel. I mean, that's an unusual thing to happen, but interestingly, Anthony, what is a very good thing, and I'll tell you who does this, who does this really well, and it's Adrian Perkins. Have you met Adrian, the
No.
psychic author, psychic detective? Yeah.
Oh, I've
Well,
heard of him.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, he's doing he's got a presentation at Parameet, and I've
Oh,
seen his
okay.
presentations, and they're fantastic. Yeah, and he's been you know, he's been psychic detective 30 years, written several books. He partners up with a parapsychologist who's a skeptic, total skeptic, but they
Oh,
work. They've got ultimate respect for each other,
good.
and Lewis's job is to disprove what Adrian's picking up on, but they work incredibly well, and I'm all for that. You know, I'm all for that, because you need that skepticism, really, but you need healthy
Definitely.
skepticism. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
he's
right.
developed this thing where you go into a building, right? You go into a building, and then you imagine this particular building. You imagine it in the room with everything taken out. Yeah. So you
Right.
close your eyes, you see it, you see the structure of the building, but everything's taken out of the room. And then you allow your imagination to fill the room with what it would be like. Yeah. And
I've
what you
tried that in a
get.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's incredible. And in fact, the best of it is Lewis, who is the parapsychologist, professional skeptic, if you like, he's actually fantastic at this. And he comes up with these things that are actually verified afterwards. You might get a name, you might see something, you might see a load, you might be in a building, you might see a load of sewing machines, and then you find out that it was a sewing machine factory or
Yeah.
something like that. But to me, like, don't get me wrong, I've got a drawer full of props. I've got a drawer full of your meters, your dowsing rods, your
Yeah.
EMF, your radios, and all that. But at the end of the day, the best tool to use on paranormal investigations is this. It's
Oh,
your own
definitely.
it's your own mind, yeah. And if you open your own mind up and just allow when you're walking past the building, Anthony, just allow that to come in, then you'll be surprised at what information that you actually get. So I'm not surprised that that he's probably encounters something like that, which is incredible. But nothing's off limits for spirit as far as I'm concerned. They
Oh,
push the boundaries all the time.
oh, don't. I've been pushed and pushed with my past life. You just think you get to the end of it and it just gets ridiculous. I'm
It does.
sorry, when you go to a place in Nottingham and then my
Mm.
past life turns up
Yeah,
and he comes through as he's dying and he
yeah,
comes through through somebody talking to me in this
yeah,
life. That
yeah.
was that was bad. You know
That's
what I mean? That
that's
that was harsh.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
his murderer comes through apologising.
yeah,
And that was yeah, that was Amanda was there.
yeah. It's
That was
incredible,
a
isn't it?
hard oh no, Amanda wasn't there. But yeah,
Yeah.
and the thing is you find with spirit, you
You
can't
one
give it
thing you can't. I'll tell you one thing. I don't know how much time that we've got left, but
we've got half an
um,
hour.
oh, okay, cool. What I learned a lesson very early on that I did this reading for somebody, and it didn't go well, to be honest. And and I said to this lady, and I said, oh, of course, spirit can't predict the future and everything. And and I kept coming up with all this stuff and that, and I gave her this stuff and these street names and everything like that, and she was taking none of it. And I thought, oh God, and I thought this reading's just not working. And in the end, we
Yeah.
finished. Yeah, I think I moved on to something else or mediumship or what, and then that was different and that worked. But anyway, it was a lesson for me because the next day, everything that I had told this lady, including the street names and everything, happened to me. Right. And in my mind, I got, don't you tell us what we can and can't do, you know, young man. It was like that. And I'm thinking, oh my God, even to certain objects.
Oh.
I saw this name of this street, and I was in Nottingham, and I looked up and I saw the name of the street. Then I went to see a good medium friend of mine, and I'd seen this little ornament, a weird little ornament. It was on his fireplace, it was on his mantelpiece, and it was like, oh my God. And he said, what's happened? I said, everything that I gave somebody that I thought was for them yesterday, when I told them that spirit can't predict the future, came true for me the next day. And it was a lesson. And now nothing
Oh,
is off limits, and yes, they
no.
can. Yeah, yes, they
Yeah.
can. They
Oh,
can see round the corner. Yeah,
I'm
without
a
a doubt.
bit dubious. Like I book these private events, people come
Yeah,
along, and
yeah,
like my past life keeps coming through. It don't matter where I go either, and it's just
yeah,
like quite mad at the moment. But
yeah.
I've got
Well, there's
people.
obviously a point to it, Jackie.
I thought I'd solved it, but it's still going on and on. But we'll see. It's
You'll
just
get there. You'll solve it. Yeah.
well,
You'll
I
if
thought
they
I
want you
had.
if they want you to solve it, you'll solve it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, well, I attended. I was there last week, not weekend gone one before, and the
Mm,
girl says, "You've got him with you again." I thought, "Oh, here we go." I said, "Who?" And she says, "The judge," and he's from the National Justice Museum.
yeah.
He's linked to a past life, and he just
Mm,
follows me around. And I knew
yeah.
that she knew him because at the gallery she'd picked up that he was around me, and oh
Mm,
God, and
mm,
it's bizarre. But
yeah.
I have for some reason decided to book myself twice and the galleries, and it's like maybe
Yeah.
I was kind of pushed to do that, and also
Mm,
like I was at Newstead, and there's these two lads who I've one phoned me out the blue basically, and oh, it's brilliant because they're so keen and they're so wonderful,
yeah.
and I had a little chat, and it turned out it was in the same group as Amanda.
Oh,
And
right.
there's something
Yeah.
about him which links with Amanda and what she does, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, um, she got all his past life spirit guides, and she told him his spirit guides and
Wow.
a connection with the Vikings. And he says, "Well, how do you know that?" And his mate is a skeptic, and
Yeah.
it totally blew his head. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I've had a word with the lad. He needs to sort it out. He gets spirit. He's got spirit so close to him. He needs to control it. But we're sorting
Yeah.
that one out. But oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
god, they were just so incredible, and oh, it's so beautiful that we're just starting out, and they're sort of asking us for advice, and then they're sort of doing more and learning more, and oh, it
Yeah.
was beautiful, really.
You know what? It's like I remember I used to work with this paranormal group, and I think this was at oh, might be, is it Craggy Noss? Yeah,
Cracking yeah.
yeah, that's the one in, well, obviously in Wales. That
Wales, yeah.
is that the one with the theatre, Craggy
Not
Noss?
sure. Not sure. I don't know.
I
So I'm
think
gonna
it is. I
I'm
think it is,
gonna
and it was owned by a lady who was an opera singer, and there was an actual theatre there.
oh
Yeah,
wow.
I think that's Craggy Noss. Anyway, I remember doing a demonstration there, and there was a young man there, and he, you know. He desperately wanted to hear from his mum. His mum came through the
Oh,
demonstration, but it got me thinking, why would you go to like a haunted place to hear from your mum, But she was obviously aware that he was going to go there, and of course, spirit are, and then she came through. But it's strange, isn't it, how roundabout way people go about things. Yeah,
yeah,
they think if they're in an environment of a haunted house, or they're going there to prove, to get evidence of life after death, through seeing spirit and that. And for me, I love the physical aspect of stuff. That's why I love going on paranormal investigations, because it's more physical, and I don't
yeah,
really get that. And I, don't get me wrong, I want to see stuff move. I want to see stuff physically, because with me, it's in my mind's eye, and I don't know whether it's proof. The only way, look, people say mediums, oh, can you prove it? No, I can't prove
no
it. A
one can,
medium can't
no,
prove anything. All we
no,
can do is give evidence. The proof, only you can decide whether that's your relative or not. We can give
yeah,
evidence, and hopefully the evidence will be good enough for you to say, yes, that's my mum, But it
that's
just struck me. I thought, oh, isn't that strange? But anyway, yeah, he went, he got a message, and it opened the door. So from that point of view, it served its purpose for him, um
yeah. You see, at
but
Haunted Antiques, like me and Amanda, we're brilliant together, and we've been
yeah,
hosting about 2 years, and we
yeah,
now find there's a seance room, and we're finding its personal messages come through there. So
yeah,
somehow all the spirits are back off to let
yeah,
personal messages come through, and it's
yeah,
absolutely amazing. But then, as that news stood at the weekend, did 2 events there, public events.
yeah,
And the first vigil I did on the first night, we'd got Lord Byron's dog come through, and
mm,
I'd got somebody really on the pendulum just to confirm really the information. So,
yeah,
we're getting the confirmation, and I was sort of throwing the odd question, which I know is wrong, just to make sure
mm,
they're doing it right.
yeah,
And it turned out one of the guest dogs came through as well. Then
yeah,
another guest, and in the end, at least one of our past dogs came through.
yeah,
So we're at a paranormal investigation, and the room
mm,
is full of everybody's past dogs.
yeah,
Like, I was in tears. A lot
yeah,
of people were just in tears, thinking, "What the hell? We've come on a ghost hunt here," and
yeah,
you just felt like, oh, it's so warm and healing, and
yeah,
like we all need that. We probably all needed this, just a little
exactly,
gentle hug, and oh
yeah,
my god! And it turns out one of the girls she worked in rescue, and all
yeah,
of us dog lovers, and oh, it,
yeah.
it
Isn't
was
that,
just mind
it's lovely,
blowing.
isn't it? Yeah.
I know, and you just don't expect that, and I posted about that happening, and someone said, "Yeah, it's so beautiful," and, like Amanda, she went into the hmm, she went in the, basement bit where they put the put the
Yeah.
bodies and stuff to rest the sloop or something.
Yeah.
She asked Spirit to move a guy's bag, and
Mm.
11 people saw his bag physically move to the right.
Wow.
We
That's
had
amazing, isn't it?
we had
Yeah.
issues with earrings, and we're finding out more about that now. People went to a nursery, their earrings
Yeah.
were falling out or
Yeah.
going missing, and they had earring backs go missing. And as
Yeah.
Barry John mentioned it at the end of the night, he sort of
Yeah.
said, "Oh, we've had an issue with earrings," and his sister sort of said, "Oh, mine's just come out." So
Mm.
she found hers lying, and
It's
it's
amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
it, and like people go on ghost hunts and like they just go for the flash in the, but oh my god, it just blows your mind what can happen.
It does because you're seeing what is inverted commas. You're seeing the impossible, And
Mhm.
my view on this is, I mean, and a lot of people are, a lot of people are skeptical. And whenever you advertise an event and everything, especially on like your community pages, you always get the Mickey takers and all of that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah,
you
the
get the
little
Mickey
cheesy ones.
takers.
Yeah,
And you get all the jokes, and every time they, cancel due to unforeseen circumstances. Yeah, psychic night. Where do they? Why do they have to advertise it? Because everybody knows anyway. And
yeah.
and
Unforeseen circumstances. Oh, I
I
should have
know,
said
and they always think it's the first time you've ever heard it. I
that.
love it actually. I love Clinton Baptiste as well. I think he's hilarious. I
Oh,
think he's
yeah.
brilliant because what he does, he highlights bad mediumship, and there's a lot of bad mediumship out
Oh,
there. And
there
he's
is.
an expert at bad mediumship. And why wouldn't I think that's funny? It is. It's hilariously funny. I think it's
Yeah.
brilliant. And I know there's a couple of really, really, really well-known mediums that also go and see him and think he's hilarious as well. Because honestly, the problem is you get that. You get I think you get a lot of people. Platform is difficult. Doing
Yeah.
doing platform mediumship is difficult because I think Albert Best said ideally mediumship should be one to one, but you're never going to, he was a pioneer, Albert Best, and he said we're never going to build this thing if we just do one to one. So we've got to get out there and see as many people as possible, But what you've got to contend with standing up there in front of 100 people. You can't prepare. It's not like doing a presentation at work. You ain't got your PowerPoint or anything. You can't rely. All you can rely on is spirit. And like I say, my deal is, look, you guys better come through because if you ain't coming through, and you make me look stupid, and I ain't got anything, the deal's over. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to carry on
Yeah.
just playing me drums. That's it. You know.
I would really love to be able to do that, and like Barry John has held demonstrations, and
Yeah,
he's called us to the front, and I've
he's
managed to
out.
get
He's
a
doing one
message.
tonight, isn't he? I saw your post.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah,
nearby, yeah, and I can't
yeah,
go to that because as I
yeah.
said, I can't go to that. I'm busy chatting. So
Yeah. You
yeah,
you know what?
uh,
And every time it's like, it's like I'll go to somewhere and I'll go. I've been to this place loads of times, and then I think, oh, I've never done a Thursday before. I've always done a Sunday. Oh my God, I'm doing a Thursday. It might be
oh,
terrible. It might be awful. Oh my God, the people on Thursday might be terrible. And you build up all these thoughts before you
oh
get
my
there,
god,
and then of course once you've done your first contact, you're all right. But it's
yeah,
and you know what? It's afterwards, it's a bit like going to the gym. You don't want to go to the gym, but after you come out of the gym, you feel great, don't you? Well,
yeah,
mediumship's a bit like that. After you've done it, you think, if it goes well, that is, And
yeah,
don't get me wrong, everybody, I don't care who they are, even the great Gordon Higginson had a bad day at the office. Believe me. And
oh yeah,
he once, and Estelle Roberts as well at the Albert Hall, stood up and said,
ooh,
sorry, got nothing today, and sat down, at
wow,
the Albert Hall. But she was never paid for her work, She never
oh
charged.
gosh,
She never charged. All the money that was raised all went to the association or whatever that she was belonged
oh,
to at the time. But she never did it for money. And isn't that amazing? And she said, "I'm not about to stand up and make anything up. I haven't got anything. I don't know why. Sorry, there'll be no mediumship today." and that was that. And people were like shocked, but better that
It's
than
what,
be
yeah, and
be
trying to
false
struggle through,
and do a
yeah.
bad job. And
Say you've got a man and hopefully something will sort of pop up and pop
absolutely,
in,
yeah,
like, yeah.
yeah. And the difference is she had integrity.
That's a
She
big
had integrity.
I would love to do that, and I would love to do trance because I've got no problem being on stage.
No,
Like, yeah, because I do panto and stuff. So,
yeah, 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 yeah,
I've got a play audition on Wednesday. I
yeah,
don't, I don't know if I can take it on because I've got loads on anyway. But whatever,
yeah.
a spirit. I have a get
Oh,
it or a
let's face it, you're a show off, aren't you? And good. You
no.
need to be a show off if you're going to
And
stand up
like
in
I love
front of
it,
people.
and
Yeah,
like in panto, I'm not even bothered. You know what I mean? Well,
no,
you want to get it right, obviously, but I'm not. I don't get that nervous anymore.
that's
I just
great.
turn up on stage and like then you're just
Yeah,
having a laugh with the crowd and
yeah,
like when I played a Wicked Witch, I was getting so much verbal from the audience in front of me. And it's
yeah,
bloody brilliant, you know what I mean? And you're like egging them
yeah,
on and stuff. And then at the
yeah,
end, I went to see him, said, "Hey, cheers for that," and it was
yeah.
just, and I just love it, and
I
blagging
get
it, get my lines.
I get nervous now if I'm not nervous, right? So if
Okay,
I'm doing this,
yeah.
if I'm doing a dem and I'm not nervous, I'm thinking, why aren't I nervous? I should be nervous, and then I get nervous because I'm not nervous.
Oh, bless you. But
It's,
it's more afterwards when I can feel nervous.
yeah,
Like, if I've
yeah,
done something really well on stage and then
yeah,
you come
yeah,
off and you're like shaking.
yeah, yeah,
Like I had to sing a song this time, which
yeah,
Amanda actually videoed it,
yeah.
you know.
Okay,
But
yeah.
yeah, and it was there, and I
You
was
got to
like,
push yourself. You
well,
have to push.
yeah,
You know
it's
what?
the night.
It's the easiest thing in the world not to do it. And we have to push ourselves. And I find it is you're constantly being pushed. So they
Amanda
obviously,
Strauss.
I guess they want me to do it because they're still turning up. You know, I guess
Yeah.
when they don't want me to do it anymore, they won't turn up, and that'll be that. But hopefully that'll never happen. So
But it's just brilliant what you do. I don't believe in mediumship, but your readings are brilliant, and
oh,
I
thank
have
you.
got a lot of good friends. It's really weird now that my circle within the paranormal field is
Mm,
mainly mediums or empaths.
yeah,
I don't really think that I'm sort of linking good friends with anybody not in those categories, which is well,
yeah,
yeah, there are, of course
yeah,
there are, but
yeah,
generally, like if I book an event, a
yeah,
private one, it's mainly mediumship led,
yeah,
and that's where we get the craziest things because I do try the physical side.
yeah, yeah,
We do call spirit close to us, and
yeah,
all hell can break loose.
yeah,
Wow, it's
yeah.
it's fantastic.
It is. It's so interesting, isn't it? It's just
Oh,
marvelous. And
okay.
the funny thing is, it's like you can get, you can get sort of, non-believers and skeptics, and they say, I don't believe a word. I don't believe in any of this. But let me just tell you this story of something that
Yeah,
happened to me. And you're going, you don't believe in this? Yeah.
yeah,
They've always got a story, haven't they? Of something.
yeah.
And I think, what do you make of that? But it's like, what do I make of it? What do you make of it? It's like,
It's
yeah,
incredible, isn't it? I was
yeah,
recently on an investigation and we booked out quite a lot of the hotel and all
yeah,
the skeptics got put together and
yeah,
all the people who were empaths mediums got put together and then
mm,
the groups who, they work together anyway.
yeah,
And the empaths got nothing. And it's not no, not the empaths. See, the people who
yeah,
didn't believe got nothing and
yeah.
well, there you go then, isn't it?
Well, no, you see, the thing is, if it's
Skeptics got
like,
nothing because like even if something happened they were gonna get nothing because
yeah,
they're not giving off
yeah,
the vibes, are they?
it's like, I know this is really bad, and it's like when people say to you, look, or they say to me, when you're dead, you're dead. And I go, unfortunately for you, yeah, that's true. Because you've created your own state, haven't you?
Well,
If
yeah.
your belief is this, that, and the other, and you believe in that, and you believe in, God, and you believe in Jesus and that, then yeah, that's what that state will happen to you because that's what you're comfortable with. Of course it
Yeah.
is. So they don't want to plunge you over there and be somewhere where you're not comfortable. So if you don't believe in anything, and and you're just permanently asleep, then it will be like, yeah, oh, I'm sort of permanently sleeping,
Yeah,
and
fine.
then your spirit guides will be saying, come on, wake up, it's all right, you're okay, you can wake, you can wake up.
Uh, yeah, Anthony says it
Yeah,
feels like that sometimes, but yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is hard to give people messages though, and you know,
Well,
it's good what
yeah,
you do, you know. It really is
it's
because yours
like
are good.
I think with the difference is with me, I was like it was instilled into me the need, and I even write it down on a piece of paper because sometimes I forget. It's not as a psychic or a medium. It's not about getting it right. It's about getting the right things right for the person. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not about because getting it right and thinking, wow, that was great. That's just serving your own ego, right? It's not serving spirit. It's not serving the person. It's serving your own ego. Wasn't I great? It's like you can do a reading for somebody and you can be talking about, you can be talking about their job and everything like that. Oh yeah, yeah, your job this, your job that. Wow. Oh yeah, and you did this and and you work for the NHS and you're a nurse and you're a midwife and you blah blah blah, and you get all that right. And at the end, you're thinking, oh yeah, how did that go? How was your reading? They went, well, yeah, that was all very well, but I'm actually getting divorced, and what I really wanted to talk about was that. Yeah.
yeah,
So it's not about getting it right. Getting it right, as I say, is for ego. It's about getting it right for the sitter. It's about meeting the need
yeah.
of the sitter. And if you don't meet the need of the sitter, then you haven't done your job. Yeah.
Get
And
you.
it's not your like I'll give you an example. I went for a reading in it was we were over in Orlando, and it was like in Universal Studios, and they had it was in like the oh, I don't know what they call it. It's a part of Universal Studios that's all sort of like Arab, Arabian Nights and
Oh,
all of that.
okay,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And the rides and the theme is Arabian Nights and everything. And they had this area, and it was a reader, a professional reader, and it wasn't cheap. It's like $50. So I sat down, and so she said, so what do you want to know? I said, what do I need to know? And she said, what do you
Yeah.
mean what you need to know? Well, I need to know, she said, whether you want to talk about relationships, work, or anything.
Oh,
Well, I
right,
said,
yeah.
but then I was thinking, well, if I said to you, I want to talk about relationships, you would be saying to me, oh, you've got problems with relationships. Of
Yeah,
course you would. I
it's
want to
called
talk about my
reading,
job. Oh, you've
isn't
got
it?
problems with your job. It's like,
Yeah,
no, I want to know what I need to know. Tell me what I need. What's my need? What do I need to know? What do I need to
yeah,
know? And she said, oh, I don't get it. I said, What don't you get?" I wasn't being awkward. I really, really wanted a reading and I did have a need, but she didn't pick up on it. And I think, well, you shouldn't be telling, you shouldn't be
should be
telling the
doing that
psychic what you're
really.
there for. The psychic should be telling you what you're there for. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I had a reading
Mm.
off you, didn't I? And you didn't
Yeah.
know me, we just
No.
had been helping at the parameet and,
Mm.
I had a reading. I thought, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
give it a go. And
Mm.
you picked up on issues of the job and more than
Yeah.
that as well. And, you went
Yeah.
into detail and you
Yeah.
were right. I got another job come up and
Yeah.
gee, that was hard work. But yeah, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's there,
But
isn't
but
it? And you're spot
but
on.
but that's what you should be, that's what you should be doing. What we all look for as well as mediums, sorry, not as mediums, but if we're doing a guidance reading, um you know um the aim is to um get people straight away with the evidence. Yeah, that's what we should
Yeah,
be doing. And I was fortunate enough to have the most incredible, this was before I was even interested in development. I was in another band, and this was a different keyboard player, a different band, back in the 80s, and his mum was a clairvoyant, a wonderful Irish wise. She was the wise woman of the village when she was 7 years old. She's the most incredible. She came from two lines of clairvoyance. She was, you know, she was absolutely incredible. And the first thing she would say to you would knock you off your chair. It was like boom, like that. Yeah.
7-year-old, my God.
Yeah. And, you
Yeah.
know, no, no, this is when she would, you know,
Well, when
she
she
was the
grew
one
up,
when she was 7. When
but to
I
be like
saw her,
that,
she was in her
yeah,
60s. Yeah. But
obviously,
you
yeah,
get
she's
the
on,
point,
but
you know.
to get that as a
And
child is yeah.
like my wife went for a reading with her, and she looked in her hand and she said, "Your rhesus negative, did you know?" And my wife
Wow.
said, "No, I haven't had a blood test." She said, "Well, your rhesus negative, and when you have your first child, said you're going to have this injection because otherwise, your body will reject the, you know, it's an immunoglobulin injection or
Oh
something."
my
So
God.
basically, they used to call it blue babies, and my wife didn't know she was rhesus negative. So, from my mind, there's not a doctor in the world that can look into your hand and tell you your blood group.
Mm.
You know, but not only that, it was significant. And my wife didn't find out till she was pregnant a year later, and she said she was right. I'm rhesus negative. I didn't even know.
Oh, that's
You know?
incredible. Hi,
Yeah.
Holly. Holly's a lovely medium as well. I've met
Oh,
her
cool.
recently,
Hi,
so
hi,
you
fellow
get
medium.
you get to meet like loads of people on Facebook, and then like you go
Yeah,
to events and you meet them, and oh, it's
yeah.
incredible, isn't it? And that's what I love about that. You know,
It,
that you look at the good part of the community, don't you?
you do.
And
And do you know what
yeah,
the thing is? I can like sometimes I can be there somewhere and I'm thinking, you got it. You got the you got the gift you have proper. And I'll say to somebody, you're psychic, you are, aren't you? And everyone's psychic, but you just know,
yeah,
you don't know what it is. You know, it's like
yeah,
a radar, you just boom, you know, they're psychic, they're a medium, they've got the you can just tell, you know.
yeah. I think
It's
it's because I'm drawn to people who are as well, naturally. It's
well, like attracts like, doesn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, you
it does
know, and
now, you know. Like years ago, I wouldn't have even gone near a medium, to be fair.
nor
Yeah,
me. I was
I
terrified.
I was, and I
Ah,
think I was terrified of mediums because I thought they'd come up and go, "You're gonna die," or
oh,
you
I
go for
know.
a reading and you get the face, "Oh, okay, we're all right," and you just expect that, and that's why I wouldn't go to a medium. And
Oh God,
obviously, you're not given that information, or
you
you
know,
have to be
I
careful.
I was
Get
say
stuff.
I was exactly the same, and I was like really sort of
Oh.
scared. And it was the same with me, you know. And I said, "Oh, you know, circumstances happened. I was around the house, and we were supposed to be rehearsing. And Rob, the guy, he was late. And I said, "Oh, would you look in my?" She's a palmist, and I said, "Would you look in my palm, please?" And she said, "Yeah, yeah, of course I will." And she said, and she told me, she said, you know, you shouldn't be here, don't you? She said, you know, you lived in London with, when you lived in London with somebody, something happened and someone was trying to get in the flat. And if you'd have let them in, you would have died. You're not supposed to be. She said, you're lucky to be here. And no one in the world knew that story apart from me. I was the only one in the
Ah,
world that knew that story. And again, it was like, oh my God. And I could feel the sweat pouring off my face. And it was like, I'm going to believe every single thing you say. But everybody that went to see her, she was like, bang. The first thing she said would be like, oh my God, you've got,
wow.
you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and that, you know, and she was incredible. She was the best clairvoyant medium, although she never called herself a medium, yet she was a medium, you know.
Well, this is the thing about labels, isn't it?
It
Like
is
so many
labels,
people
yeah.
say,
She called herself a
so
fortune teller. Yeah.
oh
And she
wow, but
was.
yeah, but
Yeah.
so many people call themselves mediums and they're not.
Yeah.
And like, if I link to spirit, I don't call myself that because I don't see that
No.
I'm like Barry John or I'm like you. You know what I mean? I can
Yeah.
do readings, but I don't.
No.
Probably because I don't
Mm.
want people to cry, and that's
Yes.
why as well. It's just mad.
Yes. Yes, that's right. And the one thing you shouldn't do in, you know, there's etiquette and there's ethics involved. And what I don't like is when, and it happened to me on Facebook, and I was on this group, and you shouldn't give like unsolicited messages. You should not go up to people and just give them. One,
Oh
it's just
no.
wrong. Two, you might get a punch in the face, and three, it's just not ethical, and it's wrong. You know, it's like
Yeah.
and they did, and I ended up leaving the group because I thought what you've just given me is Barnum statements. It's general. It could, it yes, it was true, but it would have been true for probably everybody I know. You
Yeah,
know, you went,
exactly.
oh, Jackie, God, your energies, they're up and down like a yo-yo at the minute, aren't they? They're all
Yeah, I
over the place.
know. That's it.
Who's not going to sign? Who's not going to
Right.
agree to that? Everybody.
No.
Everybody's going to say, "Oh yeah, that's me." No, no, I'm absolutely fine.
But
Yeah.
it's been an incredible chat. I want to thank you, Darren. It's been
Oh,
absolutely
thank you. I've
brilliant.
enjoyed it so much. Yes.
To everybody who's watched and everyone who's like commented, thanks so much.
Oh, well, thanks people
Shout,
for tuning in.
shout out to Amanda as well. She was absolutely on fire at the weekend. So
Hi,
Amanda was
Amanda.
Amanda was a
Yeah.
guest at Newstead, and my God, the stuff she was coming out with.
She's amazing.
She,
She
she,
is amazing.
she,
She doesn't realize how good she is. She is
yeah,
top drawer.
she really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll have to
Mm.
sort her out on that because she is really very good.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's still
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello. So next week, I'm speaking to Don't Scare Claire. So I met her a few weeks ago.
Cool.
Then got Julie Holiday, who had this haunted doll, which I actually met at the Parameet. I don't know if you saw it.
Oh.
There's this weird doll where you put batteries in it and it swears.
Oh, is that the one I held?
Yes,
You were walking around
yes,
with?
I
Oh my God.
know.
And it
Yes,
swears and it does all sorts of
it's
stuff, doesn't it?
really awesome. Yeah.
Oh, it's
So I
it's
bought
crazy. Yeah.
yeah. So 2019, she'd got a house in Wakefield where I had an issue. She worked for the
Amazing.
Warren Foundation, then she helped them, and she
Yeah.
went out to sort this house out, and it had this doll in it which
Yeah.
swore a lover
Yeah.
belt.
Yeah.
And I've actually got one because I want to use it as a vessel and see if something happens
Mm,
to it.
mm,
Fingers crossed. I shouldn't wish for things like that, shall I? But
mm.
whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's on. So that I wanted to see the doll in 2019. Finally got to see it last year, and like, wow, yeah, it swore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm going to be speaking to her, but yeah,
Brilliant.
what you up to?
Who's that? Me.
You
What? When?
coming up? What you up
Oh,
to?
coming up. Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
loads of stuff. Loads of stuff coming up. In March is really busy. I've got I'm doing a demonstration with two of the mediums in Daventry at the Mercury Hotel. I think that's on the 20th of March. I'm doing like a, sort of a, what is it? Like a New Age Day thing. I'm doing
oh
some
yeah,
readings there. I've
yeah.
got all my private readings are booked up for March, but I'm booking up April now. Um, and what else have I got? Oh yeah, I'm doing the psychic. I do psychic suppers, and I love them. And it's in a
Oh, very
super
nice.
spooky place. Yeah, I think there's still tickets for that. It's on the 15th of March at the Bacco Lounge in Rugby. You know these lounges. I don't know if you got on where you are. They're called lounges, and they're like all done up, all oldie worldy style. They're owned by like owned by a group of people from Bristol that set them up. They've got quite a few up and down the country now, but they're fantastic. And this one's in a really old building, and the
Yeah.
building is super haunted. So we're going to have a little, as well as doing the readings, we're going to do a little tune in like that exercise that I showed you as well.
Oh, awesome.
So it'll be
Yeah.
fun, and people get a free cocktail and everything. So that's fun. I love doing things like that.
Yay. Oh, it sounds
So
brilliant.
yeah, so it's a lot. So I've got and I'm doing my day job as well. So March is
Yeah, music.
pretty
My gosh,
busy.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how do people contact you? What's the best way?
Best way is on yeah, probably Facebook. So my Facebook page is Darran Charles, medium and clairvoyant, and you can see me. I've got a black and white picture, and I'm looking spookily in the air like
Yeah, I
that.
used that, didn't I?
Yeah, yeah, that's my
Yeah,
picture.
that
So if you want to
promoted
find me
it.
on, find my page. If you follow me there, and then that's got all the links to booking readings and what I'm up to, and I'll post everything on there. So that's
That's
probably the best way.
excellent.
Or
Right.
if you want to contact me directly, then it's darrencharles@gmail.com. But it's Darren with an A-N. So
Yes.
Darran, which is weird. I won't go into that. My parents couldn't spell very well. Whatever.
Oh,
No.
bless you.
So most Darrens are Darren.
Yeah, I
No.
know, because I spelt it wrong at first. Because I
Yeah.
kind of double checked to see that I spelt it
You know
right.
what? I have to tell this funny medium story, right? And so there's me, there's the incredible uh, Darren Britton, there's Darren German, there's Darren Turner. And my thing is, now at one time all mediums were called Doris, and now they're called Darren.
Oh, bless you.
So there you go.
Oh, bless you. But
Yeah,
thanks so much. Thanks everyone for your
thank
comments. And
you.
yeah, we are off now. But take
Okay.
care. Bye. Have a
Bye
good
for
one.
now.